So you've been contemplating and tossing around the idea of moving here to Charlotte, North Carolina, or really North Carolina in general. And you hear all the time of how good of a place it is to live and how many people move here every single day. But what you don't hear about and what people aren't talking about is how many people are moving and why are those people moving out of the Carolinas. Welcome to Discover Charlotte, where we're going to help you do just that. If this is your first time on our channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button, tap that notification bell so you can continue to get notified when we post new videos every week and continue to learn like a local. My name is Brandy Reinschmidt. I'm an agent here in Charlotte. My team and I get calls, emails, and text messages every day from people just like you that are looking to make a move within Charlotte, leave Charlotte, or move into Charlotte. So if that's you, whether it's in 9 days or 90 days, reach out to us, give us a call. We'd love to connect and help make your move just a little bit easier. We're gonna dive right into it, and we're just gonna jump off of the bat of every single article I feel like I hear when I hear people about moving to Charlotte, or any local news source that I hear in Charlotte. We see over 100 people move to Charlotte a day. And depending on what source you look at, you can see anything from, I saw 85 people to 130 people move to Charlotte every single day. And they're not wrong. And you see our population, a lot of things in the news will say Charlotte is the 6th fastest growing city or in top 10 fastest growing cities. Again, depends on what article you read and what news outlet you follow. But all you hear about is the growth of Charlotte. And it's growing. Charlotte is an amazing city, and I can list off the good things about it. There's other videos where I do exactly that in it. But there's a few things that we got to take into perspective, and a few things that they don't highlight, that they don't point out, that you might want to know if you're thinking of picking up and moving your entire family and life here in Charlotte. So why is it that the population is getting bigger? And notice I said population, not why is everybody moving here? Well, if you've been looking at the population over the past few years in Charlotte, it's not necessarily that everybody's moving here, which they are. Again, tons of people are moving here. It's the birth rate in Charlotte is far outsweeping the death rate. So there's a few reasons to that, and it all kind of ties together. It's really, really rare that you meet somebody, especially an elderly person, that is from Charlotte. If you meet somebody that is born and raised in Charlotte, they are called unicorns here, because honestly, it is such a rare occurrence that you find somebody that was born and raised here, because believe it or not, a lot of the local people have moved out. I don't know why the previous generation or why previous people that lived here are now gone, but I can give you feedback about why some of my sellers are deciding to leave Charlotte, or some of the feedback I've gotten from people. So why is the birth rate outweighing the death rate? Well, because of the general population that's here. Charlotte does a really good job at attracting young professionals. So over the past few years, we've had such an impact, or an influx of people moving into Charlotte because of the job market here. Charlotte has a really strong economy. There's constantly new businesses opening. We've got a lot of headquarters here. We've got Bank of America, we've got BB&T, American Airlines, we've got Lowe's headquarters, Honeywell headquarters, Red Ventures, Movement Mortgages in the area. We have, the list just goes on of large headquarters that are in the area. So all these companies are coming here and they're providing jobs for a lot of young professionals. When I say professionals, I'm saying early 20s to, let's just say, early 40s. So obviously when you're in that life, that range of your life, that's when you oftentimes start thinking about making a family or planning a family. So again, childbirth rates are killing the death rates. A lot of the older generation, the older population, in general, if you actually look around Charlotte and you notice, you don't see a lot of senior citizens here. A lot of them end up going down to South Carolina. You do get a homestead exemption. You get a tax break essentially for being a senior citizen down in South Carolina. So a lot of them do head down there. A lot of our 55 and older or retirement style communities are in South Carolina. We do have a handful here in North Carolina. I will do a totally separate video on which ones those are in case if you're interested. But a lot of times the older clients that I have helped in the area are more often looking to sell their home that they've owned and they've raised their family in. So a lot of sellers have their 3 to 4 children. They have this humongous house where all the bedrooms and main bathrooms are upstairs. and they're aging, their knees hurt, their hips hurt a little bit more, and they can't quite make it upstairs. Or they don't want to maintain this 3,000 square foot home, or they don't want to do yard work. So they end up either following where their kids are and their grandkids went if they're not here in Charlotte, or they find a little bit more of an easy Florida retirement lifestyle a little bit more appealing. So I'm not saying that we don't have the older generation here in Charlotte. We definitely do, but you just don't see them as often. A lot of the growing areas in Charlotte are geared more towards, again, the young professional and the younger age groups, with breweries coming in and concert venues and newest restaurants coming in is going to attract the young professional group. So yes, our population is growing. Yes, people are relocating here every single day, but keep in consideration, sometimes people are just born here and they stay here. So that's one factor of why the population is growing. But let's talk about why people are actually leaving now. Well, there's a few reasons. The most popular states that relocate here are Florida and New York, both very different lifestyles. So if you're from Florida, obviously you're used to a beach being 20 to 30 minutes away. You're used to, summers in the 60s and 70s. You're not used to fall. It's just a different lifestyle, where if you're from New York, you might be from New York City, you're used to a busier nightlife, a more entertaining, high energy area. So Charlotte is kind of right in the middle of both of those. Yes, we do have an uptown metropolitan area. Yes, we do have a couple entertainment districts with restaurants and bars and comedy venues and music venues. So we do have a lot of those things going on right now, and a few different of those areas. But if you're looking at both of the extremes, Charlotte is not that. So a lot of times we hear it just wasn't a right fit. And this could be anywhere from the lifestyle that you want to the home that you ended up buying. And why do I say that? Well, in COVID years, especially COVID years, Charlotte just experienced this insane amount of growth. It was still an affordable city for a lot of people, and people were looking to start the home ownership. Money was cheap to borrow. It was down to 1.5%, 2%, 3% interest rates. So for Charlotte being a larger city, compared to New York and Chicago and Boston and Phoenix, and compared to all these other larger cities, Charlotte was still considered a really affordable city. And when people had to start working remotely from home, and it didn't matter where they lived, they noticed that they could get a 2,300 square foot house for $2,000 a month versus a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom apartment for $2,000 a month. So they saw that they could get more bang for their buck here, and it was a lifestyle change for them. Sometimes that lifestyle change doesn't last. Sometimes people don't like that lifestyle change. So they came in COVID. It was really, really competitive, and they ended up getting in bidding markets. They ended up offering on houses, 15, some 20 houses, and losing out on them. And then the house that they did get, they ended up settling. They got buyer's fatigue, so they took away a few of their must-haves off of their list. And they ended up settling for something that they might not really have wanted or might not fit their needs. For example, you and your partner both work from home, and what you were making work for a little bit, where maybe one of you worked in a bedroom and the other one worked at the dining room table, maybe now no longer works, since your jobs have changed and redesigned how they structure your days, where you both might need separate offices. Or you realize now that you do want a little bit more space. You want a bigger yard. That is another common reason that I hear often, is people want more space and a little bit more privacy. So yes, North Carolina does have a lot of green space. You can get a really good yard here. The average lot size in Charlotte is under 1/4 of an acre. And some people, let's say you purchased out in the Harrisburg area, Harrisburg is just outside of the Charlotte suburb or the Charlotte city limits. They're often known for still having a lot of green space, a lot of larger lots. Well, there's a lot of communities being built up in that area right now. So 5 years ago, I had a seller that bought this house, and one of the main reasons they bought this house was because of the vacant property behind it. They knew there was a risk of it being developed, but guess what? That risk now came through, and the developer has started developing. So now they've got construction in their backyard, and instead of looking at wide open fields, they now are looking at the back of somebody else's house. That's happening a lot here in Charlotte, or in a lot of these older neighborhoods where you've got a 1/4 of an acre lot with these 1,200 square foot houses. developers or even private investors or private homeowners are knocking these smaller ranch style homes down and putting these larger homes, which are taking up more space in the lot, making it feel a lot closer to the neighboring home. So space in general, and it maybe not being the right fit. You know, a lot of these people that moved down here and purchased a home in Charlotte were coming from renting. So they maybe didn't know what they needed or what they wanted in home ownership. And now they have a home, they're paying for it, they see what they need, their life has changed, and it's just not a great fit. Or you like skiing in the winter every single weekend. We don't get that here. Charlotte does not have ski slopes here. You can drive about an hour, I lied, about 2 hours away to Banner Elk or Boone, Sugar Mountain, and you can go skiing, but it's definitely not like anything up north. Or beaches. If you're, you know, I'm from Florida, I would go to the beach every chance I got. My swimsuit was in my car, my wakeboard was in my car, and I could get off of work. And if I had a few hours before the night, you know, the sun went down, I'd go to the beach. If that's your lifestyle, Charlotte doesn't have it. We do have lakes. You can hop on the lake and go water skiing whenever you want. But our winters do get cold, so you may not want to do that year round. So it really just sometimes is not the right lifestyle fit if it's something that you're used to and you don't have that here. So we've got just not the right fit. Just not the right fit. It could be lifestyle, it could be housing, it could be your life has changed, you name it. We've got space. Yes, you could get so much more bang for your buck here, especially during the COVID years. As Charlotte has continued to grow, so have our housing prices. The affordability in Charlotte, while in comparison to other larger cities, New York, Chicago, Boston, Phoenix, other larger cities in the area, Charlotte is still really affordable. But if you're coming from a mid-sized town, say in Alabama or other places in maybe Georgia or Virginia, Charlotte's not so affordable. So it depends on where you're coming from on the affordability factor. So Charlotte's prices are continuously getting higher. We're about 4% higher, and this is going to segue into our next point. We're about 4% higher than the state average. But we are 2% lower than the national average. So it is still, nationally speaking, an affordable city. However, when people move here, they look at the housing prices in Charlotte, then maybe they get a little bit frustrated or they start looking at different options, and they find that if you just go slightly outside of the Charlotte city limits, such as Rock Hill, Indian Land, Fort Mills down in South Carolina, it's actually more expensive to live in. Recently it's gotten that way, but you can go up north to Huntersville or Mooresville, where they are considered suburbs of Charlotte. And again, when you're searching statistics and you say, you know, people moving into Charlotte, they're specifically talking about Charlotte, North Carolina. So, these people start looking at homes and start seeing what they can get in Charlotte versus just going 30 minutes south or 30 minutes north. And you can definitely get a lot more land, a lot more house for the same amount of money. Again, you're gonna give up some walkability if you happen to be in a couple areas in Charlotte that are walkable, but overall, if you're looking for just your standard single family home in a suburban lifestyle, you go just 30 minutes north or south and your price point can change and get you a lot more money or a lot more house for what you're spending. So a lot of people find themselves going outside of the Charlotte city limits and still having a really good access to all the amenities and entertainment and options that Charlotte has to offer. So people leave Charlotte city limits, not necessarily the Charlotte area, for that reason. Another reason why people find themselves moving outside of the Charlotte area is schools. If you look in general at North Carolina schools, we are not known for the best public school systems. We're actually consistently rated pretty low on the list. With that said, Charlotte does have a lot of charter schools, a lot of day school, private schools here that people do love, and they are great schools here. But if you're big on wanting to if you're big on public schools, you're going to find Mecklenburg County specifically, but North Carolina as a whole is not really high up on the list. So that does deter a lot of people from coming here. So it depends on what's important to you. We get our information from websites such as greatschools.org. They do really good ratings, 1 through 10, and they're based off of tons of different things go into these grades that these websites give. But niche.com and greatschools.org are two of our top resources that we use for school grades. Really helpful information if you're trying to narrow down where to go based on school. So you've got not a right fit, you've got lifestyle changes, you have more bang for your buck elsewhere, and then the schools. So overall, we're not finding so many people are leaving Charlotte, but again, it's just like anywhere else. People come and go, and those are some of the reasons why I personally heard people not stay in the Charlotte, North Carolina area. So overall, it's not a bad place to live. There's going to be negatives just like anywhere else. I hope this is helpful for you. If you have any questions or if you have any thoughts on why you chose not to live in Charlotte or something maybe you've heard, please drop a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. If you have any questions, let us know, reach out to us. And of course, if you have any real estate goals here in the Charlotte, North Carolina area, buying, selling, relocating, you name it, reach out. My team and I would love to help you.